My top three list for Man United strikers in 25-26. Number one, Hugo Ekitike. Of all the players that we're looking at Gyökeres, we're looking at Mateta, we're looking at Osimhen, and we've even been looking at a striker who plays in the Belgian Pro League. But out of all these strikers, the number one name that comes to mind is always Hugo Ekitike. Somebody who's played in PSG before. Even if he's flopped, he played at PSG. And when you look at Eintracht Frankfurt, look at the setup before January. They had a certain Omar Marmoush, who's now gone to Man City. And if you watch his compilations, I see a lot of Omar Marmoush. This means that there is always one playmaker, and when the playmaker services Ekitike, he's either servicing him or Marmoush was servicing Ekitike, which means he can build up connections very well with the players that you have. Now, people are saying 60 million, 70 million, 80 million. Some people are saying don't go above 80 million. Well, I would say Ekitike, though we have Zirkzee, he is not exactly Zirkzee. You see, Ekitike has a bit of Isaac. He has a bit of Zirkzee. He has a bit of Firmino. I'd rather be looking at Ekitike because he's French. Because he plays with some of the best players that are coming up in this new generation. And guess what? He has been able to succeed. Marmoush at Frankfurt and then Cherki in the French setup. You see that he is able to link up with world-class footballers. But to get to a certain level, you need to know how to play the game physically. You need to know how to play the game technically. And guess what? I think Ekitike has both. So if you can secure a deal anywhere below 85 million euros, I think it's a steal. Now, player number two, Victor Gyökeres. A very different profile. And this shows you that for this United team to work, there is not just one setup, not one kind of striker that is needed. There are different kinds of strikers. And number two, Victor Gyökeres, who's more of your traditional number 9. He's going to be there to finish with headers. He's going to be there to finish in the box, fox in the box. He's going to run on balls. He's going to create his own chances. He will be there to create chances for us, guys. Don't think that Gyökeres is going to be just a Hoyland and he's just going to stand there in the box demanding Bruno, demanding Ahmad, Cunha and Mbeumo to service him. He's going to do his own work. But do I rate him as highly as Ekitike? Probably not. The only reason being that I would say Mbeumo and Cunha and even Ahmad, Bruno in their own rights can score goals. So we don't really need an out-and-out number 9 when we have goals coming from the rest of the team. So when we have goals coming from the rest of the team, we can just focus on, let's say, a couple of players who can just link up very well. Which is why it really depends what fee they ask for Gyökeres. Because remember, while Ekitike might be a very different profile, he is much younger than Gyökeres. Gyökeres is 27. He's older than Cunha. He's older than Mbeumo. And we are expected to bring him in at around 70, 80 million euros. That's what we are looking at. But let's say this price goes to the price that they are talking about, that Sporting are talking about, up to 100 million euros, 85 million pounds. For a 27-year-old, when we can get other strikers who are definitely prem proven, when Gyökeres isn't exactly prem proven, I would say Gyökeres for 100 million euros is a stretch. But if you're talking to me about a 70 or 80 million euro fee, then we can negotiate. We can actually do something. But all I'm saying is, while we're trying to buy these players, there is a fee that we shouldn't just cross. If you're buying Ekitike, it's a totally different conversation because Ekitike, there is still sell-on value and he's a very good player. So even if, let's say, hypothetically, he does flop in this super team that we're trying to build, there are always going to be buyers, whether it's in Liga or even La Liga. That's what the shout as well after this. So we're never going to be short of buyers. But Gyökeres, it's not a given because this is probably going to be his last contract. But to look at his wages, to look at the transfer fee that he's asking for. And at the same time, we need to look at what he can provide our team. What can he provide you? Well, he's a top scorer in the world pretty much this year. And given it's in the Portuguese league, we know Nunez has made it look silly. We know that Joao Felix has made it look silly, the Portuguese league. But nobody can dispute the fact that he is scoring goals. And there are strikers who just cannot score goals, who cannot even get into positions to score goals. So it's better that you can score than that you can't score. But for this reason, Gyökeres is second on my list instead of number 1. And the third option that I'm looking at is a prem proven option, somebody that we're not looking at yet. Jean-Philippe Mateta. Somebody who's played in this league, somebody who's gone through troubles in this very league, who's come under Glasner, who's worked out. As much as I like Mateta, the only thing I will say, the only thing I can say negative about him, which does actually hold him in bad stead, is that he's only worked under Glasner. So before that, he was a well-recognized striker, but is there the threat that if he comes to a bigger club, he can't handle the pressure, and because of that, he only works in certain systems. If he doesn't work in those certain systems, he breaks down. So while Mateta is a good option, while we know what he can offer, he has physicality, link-up play is decent, and his finishing is decent, and he gets into positions, all that's fine. But when it comes to a totally brand new system, a system that is being built from scratch, not a place where we have players we can rely on and 100% say, you know what, these guys are going to carry us forward. How can you come into this system and help us score goals? How can you help us move that bit further? And now, wildcard option number 4, which is what I'd prefer anyway to start off the season with, is Joshua Zirkzee. Now, if you ask me, really, we need an additional striker, and whoever we bring in, it could be any of these three, should sit on the bench anyway for Zirkzee. Because for me, what Zirkzee has showed in the first half of the season, or wherever he has played, he showed me that he can link play well, that he can help his teammates, he can facilitate his teammates to play the ball, and he can create chances that we need, that we are in threat of not making at all. And anytime that Zirkzee did help with chance creation, much like you can say with Bruno Fernandes for the last few years, there's nobody to latch onto the chances and finish, nobody to create or move ahead with the chances, because all you had was Ahmad, and then Ahmad got injured after a while, and then Kobe got injured, and then now you're left with nothing. You don't have a goal threat. But let's hypothetically say, well, since we're already getting Cunha and Mbuemo very soon, add to that maybe Gyökeres. Imagine the kind of front threes, the combinations of front threes that you can play with them. And then you have Ahmad coming in as well. You have Bruno Fernandes. And if we're getting in a new midfielder, which looks very likely, targets aren't out yet, but we know we're trying to go for a midfielder. If we're getting all these upgrades, now suddenly you're seeing the team from 15th place. Maybe it might be good enough to finish even 4th or 3rd. Or, you know what, even 2nd. The only reason I say 2nd is because you look at in the past, teams of our caliber, like you look at the Chelseas, you look at the Spurs, teams that were not in Europe, but had a certain pedigree to them. You see how they have over-succeeded well beyond what anybody thought the season before that. Chelsea had finished in around 9th or 10th the season before they had won the league. And then they just took it by storm the following year. And all it required was just no Europe, just focus on the league, and they win the league. I'm not for 1 second saying that we're going to win the league, because I know what Liverpool are, I know what City are. But there is an off chance we could definitely finish in 3rd place. You could catch Arsenal out for sure. And if we're lucky enough, one of Liverpool or Man City could slip up, and then you could think about 2nd place. But that would require us to start with a solid foundation, to look at, you know what, our attack is just going to go and outscore the opponent. It's not about underscoring or making it a 1-0, 2-1 affair. We try to make it a 5-4, a 6-5. Make it interesting, make it scary if you want to, but always outscore the opponent. That's the idea. Forget the defending part for now, because you know what, while our defensive structures are all over the place, maybe we could get that right with a few more recruitments, especially in the midfield. We get a bit more energy in the midfield, we could see much more improvements. So then we're just focusing on just outscoring the opponent. That could be the way, guys. What do you guys think? Comment down below and see you on the next one.